Aaliyah came into his room like she owned the sun. Not in appearance. She wore plain scrubs and her hair pulled back in a curly puff, but in energy. She adjusted his IV, took his vitals, and smiled at him without fear. Damien noticed her presence the moment she walked in. She wasn't just another nurse. There was something grounding about her, like the calm before a storm, except her calm healed. At 25, Aaliyah had been through more than most her age. Raised in Atlanta by a single mother who juggled two jobs, she grew up understanding responsibility and compassion in equal measure. She worked part-time through nursing school, often tutoring classmates to pay rent and groceries. She chose this career not for money, but because she found joy in giving hope where there was none. Damien Bennett, 37, was a billionaire tech mogul known for revolutionizing medical software. But recently, he'd vanished from public life, replaced by whispers about his health. A misdiagnosis had shaken his world. A rare form of cancer, they said. Stage 4. Terminal. The diagnosis had come during a routine health check, and the PET scans and blood work appeared to confirm it. Convinced he had little time left, Damien checked into an elite private clinic in Atlanta, far from New York's chaos. He didn't want sympathy. He didn't want tabloids. He just wanted one thing: an heir. No lovers, no exes, no family members he trusted. He wanted someone kind-hearted, real, and sincere. When he met Aaliyah, something in him shifted. She treated him like a man, not a billionaire, not a patient. And when he told her his story, about the diagnosis, his fear, the emptiness despite his fortune, she listened. Days turned into weeks. Aaliyah became his assigned nurse. She brought warmth into his sterile world. She would bring him books, ask questions no one dared to ask, and even made him laugh again. One rainy evening, after he recounted a painful memory of his estranged father, she reached for his hand. It was instinctive, not professional, but human. Their fingers lingered. "Can I ask you something crazy?" he said one night, his voice low. She looked at him amused. "Sure. If I don't make it, I don't want to go without leaving a part of me behind." Her breath caught. "You mean a child?" He nodded, eyes earnest. "I know it sounds insane, but I wanted to be with someone who has a good heart, not just a name on a contract. And I don't know anyone who fits that better than you." Silence. Then her soft voice. "I've never been with anyone before." That surprised him. Not in a judgmental way, but in a deeply respectful one. He reached for her hand gently. "Then if you agree, it will be with all the care and patience in the world." That night, after sharing their fears and dreams, the air between them shifted. Damien reached for Aaliyah's hand gently, and she didn't pull away. There was something sacred in the silence between them, as if the walls of the clinic had disappeared, leaving only the truth of who they were. Two souls longing for something deeper. "I want this to be your choice," Damien said softly, his voice shaking slightly. "Not just because I asked, but because you want it too." She looked up at him, her eyes filled with vulnerability, curiosity, and quiet courage. "I do." He leaned in slowly, giving her every chance to change her mind. Their lips met in a tentative kiss, warm, exploratory, a question and an answer at once. Then another kiss, deeper, slower, until she was cradled in his arms and he was pressing soft kisses down the curve of her neck. He undressed her like she was something sacred, first her scrubs, then the tank top beneath, each piece removed with reverence. Her skin warmed under his touch, shivering not from fear, but from newness. He took his time, learning every inch of her, watching how her breath hitched when his fingertips trailed her waist, how her eyes fluttered shut when he kissed her collarbone when he entered her. He did it with care, guiding her through every movement. She gasped, part pain, part awe, and clutched his back like an anchor. He paused, whispered reassurances, kissed her forehead, and waited for her to nod before continuing. The rhythm they found was slow, intimate, as if time itself had slowed down to watch them. It wasn't just sex. It was discovery. It was healing. It was two people choosing to let go of fear and hold on to hope, to love, even for a night. Afterward, they lay in tangled sheets, her head on his chest, his heartbeat steady beneath her ear. Aaliyah felt changed, not because she had given something away, but because she had gained something she hadn't known she was missing. Safety, trust, connection. "I didn't think I could feel this close to someone," she whispered. Damien kissed the top of her head. "You make it easy to forget the world is falling apart." They fell asleep like that, entwined, peaceful, whole. Morning light streamed in. She stirred, trying to roll away shyly. Damien noticed, smiled, and pulled her back into his embrace. "Good morning, sunshine," he teased. She buried her face in his neck. "I can't believe I did that." He chuckled. "Me neither. But I'm glad you did." His hand cupped her face as he looked at her with reverence, and before long, they made love again. This time with more confidence, more knowing, more hunger. It was slow, sweet, and unforgettable. 2 weeks passed. They spent more time together in his suite. He seemed healthier, happier. Aaliyah, too. But that morning, over eggs and toast, her face suddenly twisted. "What's wrong?" he asked. She bolted from the table and ran to the bathroom. Sounds of retching echoed. Damien followed, concerned. "Aaliyah," he knocked. "Are you okay?" When she emerged, she looked pale but smiling. "I missed my period. A week late." His eyes widened. He pulled her into a hug, kissed her forehead. "Get some rest. I'll have a pregnancy test brought up." One of his staff rushed to the nearest pharmacy. Minutes later, they waited together as the test developed. 2 pink lines. Tears filled her eyes. Damien looked at her like she held the universe. "You're going to be a father," she whispered. "And you a mother." They sat in silence, holding each other. No words needed. The following week brought more surprises. A second opinion on Damien's scans revealed something shocking. The initial test results had been flawed. The mass they saw was not cancerous. A benign inflammatory condition that could be treated. With proper care, Damien would live. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. But when he looked at Aaliyah, now carrying his child, he realized life had just begun again. They moved into his estate on the outskirts of Atlanta. A place with a garden, tall windows, and peace. Months passed. Aaliyah's belly grew. Damien attended every appointment, every craving run. He built a nursery with his own hands, hired a doula, and read every parenting book he could find. Their bond grew stronger. He proposed under a magnolia tree in the backyard, slipping a vintage ring on her finger. She said yes, through tears. 9 months later, she went into labor on a humid summer night. The hospital staff treated her like royalty. And when the cries of not one but 2 babies filled the air, Damien broke down. Twins, a boy and a girl. They named them Elijah and Eden. As they held their children for the first time, Aaliyah whispered, "You thought your life was ending. But it was only beginning." He kissed her forehead. "All because of you." Their love was never planned. But sometimes, the best things in life come from moments of pure truth, of vulnerability, and the courage to ask for something extraordinary. And Aaliyah, the nurse with a son in her soul, gave him the world he never thought he deserved.